Ladies and gentlemen.
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Just keep it simple.
I'm making the promo.
Just keep it simple. Just say, hey, we're the Brav Bros. Two guys that talk about Bravo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're the Brav Bros.
No.
Oh.
Dude, stop with the voice. Just keep it simple.
I've seen promos on TV, dude. This is how you get the fans engaged. This is how you get listeners. We're trying to get listeners here. If we just say, oh, we're two dudes that talk about Bravo, people are going to get tired of it already. We need some oomph.
All right, then fine. Let's try to do it with your voice.
Brav Bros.
Good job.
Hello, I'm Alison Larkin, writer, comedian, narrator, and host of the Jane Austen podcast. Join me as we embark on a journey through Austen's timeless stories, starting with Pride and Prejudice. The Jane Austen podcast with Alison Larkin is available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Let's hang out. Let's hang out. And let's talk about what lesbians about. Let's hang out. And let's listen to two lesbians shout. Let's hang out. Let's hang out.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Lez Hang Out, the podcast that all our friends are really only hate listening to anyways.
With your funniest and smartest friends.
From the West Coast, I'm Leigh Holmes Foster.
And from the East Coast, I'm Ellie Brigida. To those of you who have been with us through this whole journey, thank you as always for listening. If you're a new listener, welcome. We're excited to have you here. Here's what's happening this week.
This week in the Lesdom.
This Week in the Lesdom is a place where we can touch base each episode about things going on with the podcast or otherwise. In Season 7, we are still releasing bonus Patreon episodes. Our last one was on Blue is Warmest Color. And our next one will be on Signature Move. You can listen to that at bit.ly/lespatreon.
And we want to remind everyone you can still get your tickets to join us in Costa Rica from May 1st to May 6th. We are going to have such a blast. We are so excited to have our relaxing retreat up in the Costa Rican National Park. So if you want to join us, you can buy your tickets at bit.ly/Lesdo Costa Rica.
In the Greater Lez universe, Billie Eilish posted on, I think, her Instagram, the gay and tired filter. So it's like says gay on one cheek and tired on the other, which like honestly same. And so everyone's speculating about her sexuality, which I feel like was already confirmed. Am I crazy? Like, girl's so queer.
No, wait, she for sure is gay, and you know who I just saw post about this? And tired. No, wait, sorry. I need to look this up because I actually don't know if you saw this. So everyone knows Amanda Holland, right?
Yeah.
So Amanda posted something on her stories about learning that, so saying, today I learned Billie Eilish is queer because there's an article about Billie Eilish saying that she's both physically attracted to and, quote, so intimidated by women. And there's a comment on the Instagram post about it where Heather Morris commented, same, babe, same. So Amanda Holland posted this thing where she was like, oh, today I learned Billie Eilish is queer, and so is Heather Morris, ? Like,
and
amazing.
So isn't everyone. We know this.
So is everyone.
But I also found it like to be an interesting discussion online of like coming out as a public figure now, where it's like the younger generation is just like, everyone's gay. So like, I didn't need to tell you I'm gay. I just want to post something silly about, like a meme about me being gay because I'm gay. And I find this funny.
Yeah.
Rather than like, let me make a public statement defining my sexuality. Like, you know, so
the kids just skip right over coming out these days.
Yeah.
Man.
And they're just like, oh, I just assumed you thought I was gay because I am. So I'm like, yeah, Billie, cool.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Also, in the Greater Lez universe, I see that Out just posted a bunch of their Out 100 icons, including Brandi Carlile as the voice of LGBTQ plus hope and healing. Incredible.
Brandi Carlile fans are wild. Like, they are strong. They are just like full force. Like, they can sell out stadiums. Like, they go to Mexico together. I don't know. Like, they're just like, it's such a thing. I have one of the members of the Femmes is like a huge Brandi Carlile fan. She's seen Brandi Carlile like 4 or 5 times every year, and it's like,
wow,
insane. I mean, I think that Brandi's amazing, but I just am like very impressed by the Brandi Carlile fandom. That's all.
I love that. You know what I love? I love discovering like other little like new niche things that you didn't realize were like such a big, because I feel like everybody knows it's like, oh, like, you're like a Disney person or you're like a cruise person
Brandon
or like
Carlisle people are a
that's
big
just
big chunk.
I love that. That's amazing.
chunk.
So anyways, she's the Out magazine icon of the year in their Out 100. A+, hats off, kudos to you, Brandy.
I know there's a lot of, actually this is all music related, which I'm happy about. But Tracy Chapman also won Song of the Year for Fast Car for Luke Combs' version of it, which is a little bit like meh, meh, meh. But
yeah.
I'm still happy that Tracy Chapman is getting the respect she deserves as a Black queer woman who has been a pretty huge person in music for a long time. It sucks that like she wins Song of the Year because this man covered her song. But I'm still happy because Tracy Chapman's a shit and deserves the props.
Yeah.
I've also read this article that have you heard both versions, I'm assuming, of Fast Car?
Think I've heard the Luke Combs version once. I mean, I know, like, obviously I've heard the original version.
Okay,
like, yeah, like tons of
also,
times.
it's just like, it's like cool that Luke Combs is like paying like is sort of like doing a tribute to Tracy Chapman, but also the song itself lyrically,
I know,
is so Tracy Chapman's experience that is not Luke Combs' experience, that it's also like, okay, so you sort of took like all the feeling and emotion out of it and just made it like, oh wow, I like this song, it's cool. And it's like, if you listen to the lyrics, it's like so heart-wrenching.
Yeah.
It's about someone who like cannot escape this like life that they're in. Like they were homeless, like they have no money, their father's an alcoholic. Like it's like dark.
Yeah.
And then they're like, let's just take this fast car and run away from here. The song itself. Ugh.
No, I mean, it's a beautiful song.
So good.
But
yeah,
luckily it had a white man to,
to bring it to life.
Yeah. Great. Excellent.
Sorry for that rant, but that's what's happening this week. Back to you, Ellie and Leigh.
Thanks, Ellie and Leigh. And welcome to episode 8 of season 7, our next installment of Lez-ssentials.
So exciting. Lez-ssentials is a recurring segment on the show where we dive into classic lesbian movies or TV shows.
And as a reminder, we are writing and recording original songs for each of our Lez-ssentials movies. So you will want to stick around to the very end of today's episode for our song inspired by Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It's called Bodies.
Honestly, I feel like we're doing this Lez-ssentials mostly for the song. So get ready for that.
It's not true. You're not wrong, is what I'm saying. Let's
for the
preface,
film as well, but just yeah. But I feel like,
but
Leigh
let's
was
be
like,
real. I watched this movie. Yeah.
Leigh watched this film and was like, I can write a great song. Can we do this? I'm like, yes.
Great is not, I don't think, the go-to descriptor I would use.
Fine.
I think I said I will write a bonkers unhinged song based on this. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Spoiler alert. Before you move on in this episode, you must watch this movie.
If you have any desire to watch it without listening to the episode first,
please
we
do
spoil
not
everything.
listen to this episode. It will
so
be
fast,
so spoiler heavy, and this is really a great film to see what happens as it unfolds. Like, you need to watch it as it is. And so for this Lez-ssentials, we're talking about the 2022 A24 film Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. And as a reminder, we're talking about an A24 film because the SAG-AFTRA strike is still ongoing and we are in solidarity with SAG. So we can only do A24 films, but this one, pretty gay. So here we go.
Months and months and months of strike onwards. We are staying strong, okay? Us, the main component of this ongoing strike, right?
Yeah. the people who are harmed most by the strike. Us. You're correct. Yeah.
You and I, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So Bodies, 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 A24. This movie, directed by Helena Rain, I think is how that would be pronounced. It's written by Sarah Delap and Kristen Rupinian, and starring Amandla Stenberg and Maria Bakalova, and of course Rachel Sennott. Great.
And
great
Pete
cast.
Davidson.
Yes. Sure.
We got an interesting cast going on here.
just listen, there's a lot of interesting things going on in this movie. We're going to talk about all
I
of
cannot
them.
wait.
But the most exciting part for me, Ellie, do you know what it is?
You get to do an IMDb synopsis.
I
It's been so
get
long.
to do, I know, I get to do so few IMDb synopses this season, so this is just really special for me, everyone, and you should let me have this moment.
Have your
Our
moment, Leigh.
IMDb synopsis for Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is as follows. When a group of rich 20-somethings plan a hurricane party at a remote family mansion, a party game turns deadly in this fresh and funny look at backstabbing, fake friends, and one party gone very, very wrong.
Good synopsis. It sold me on the film, gotta say.
Listen, in terms of how wrong a party can go, I think this really takes the cake.
Oh, yeah.
This is high up there.
Takes the weed cake.
when we think about like, oh, party foul, usually it's not this bad. You're like,
Mhm.
oh no, you spilled a beer on my rug, on my chair.
Not you killed my old boyfriend. You know,
Not
party
every
foul.
single person at this
is
party
dead,
ended up dying
except for the
horribly.
lesbians. Yeah, yeah.
Except for the lesbians.
Which is
yeah.
why Lez-ssentials, baby. This is the ultimate don't bury your gays.
Yeah, I know.
Because
and
your
that's,
gays just murder everyone.
So can we start before we like dive into the movie and the plot and all of that? Like,
Yeah.
what's your experience with Bodies, 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 Ellie?
Great question. I actually had a super fun experience with Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. So I had heard about it for a while. My friend Rebecca told me about it because she's like a big horror gay. Like she loves a good like slasher kind of film. And so she saw it. She loved it. I sort of put it in the back of my mind because like I'm a little like, oh, I don't know, like because it's
you're not a big horror
and
movie
like that's the thing,
person.
but I wouldn't really consider this a horror movie.
Yeah,
It's
I wouldn't
like-
either.
It's like a slasher comedy.
Yeah.
Right? But so it was in the back of my mind for a while. We're on family vacation. It's me and all my cousins and my brother. So it's like none of the adults. I say adults as like I am an adult, but you know what I mean. I wasn't watching, but I was watching it with all my cousins, right? Some of them Gen Z, a majority of us millennials. And we watched this movie together and we were peeing ourselves laughing. Like it was just a very fun family bonding experience. And especially because like the gay shit, like half my cousins, like all the gay shit, they're like, Ellie, oh my God, like you're a lesbian. Isn't this
Lesbians!
funny? Yeah. So yeah, I had a thoroughly enjoyable time watching this with my family.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think like I went into it thinking it was going to be more horror than it was. It's really not. I mean, I'll do a lot more horror than you will, for sure. And that was why so actually my experience with this is I watched it on a flight when we all just went to the East Coast for our little family trip when we visited you and went fishing, you know. So I wanted to like download something to watch on the plane. The way that we fly these days is we tend to sort of have like, you know, we'll get like 3 seats and then the one in the aisle across. So it's like one of us is with the girls and they can watch stuff and whatever. So anyways, I was like, I want to watch something. I know it has to be something that like Kelsey's not going to watch with me because we're usually kind of like, you know, dividing and conquering the flying with the kids and stuff. And so I was like, oh, here's one that it was like, you know, I've seen like lots of stuff. I know it was kind of gay. I hadn't watched it yet. I doubt that Kelsey's going to want to watch it with me. So like, I'll just download this and I'll watch it. So I watched it on the plane. And yeah, literally it got started and I was like, I didn't know anything going in. So I went in with really like no idea what I was signing up for. I thought it was going to be a lot more horror than it was. And I didn't know that they don't die. So I was ready for it to be like, oh, bury your gays. Here we go. Like, and I was pleasantly surprised. I feel like we're like burying the
I know, I'm
lead.
so sorry.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It's like they don't die. If you want to watch this movie,
The lesbians
everyone
don't
dies
die.
but the lesbians.
Yep.
Like,
That's it.
it is flip that trope right on its head, which I super enjoyed about it. And
I
so
also
yeah, so
like I didn't realize this until we started this episode, which I should probably do more research in general. But I didn't realize that it was written and directed by women, so I'm like, that makes sense.
yes, and it's fun. It was
Yeah.
just fun.
Yeah,
Like it's a bonkers movie. It's a lot of fun. I super enjoyed it.
it's so
especially
silly. Like
especially
so silly and
right
fun.
around like Bottoms just coming out. I'm like, Rachel Sennett is just fun to watch in movies to me. Like she's
Mhm.
just a fun actress. She is equally unhinged as a character in this, which I find delightful. And literally the plane landed and my brain was just like, I could write a song about this and it would be bonkers because the movie is bonkers.
It's so bonkers, yeah.
And I think I texted you from the plane or like from the airport where I was like, Ellie, have you seen this? Because I wasn't sure if you were going to want to watch it if you hadn't seen it already, because I know how much you're not super into like the horror stuff. So I wasn't sure if you had seen it. And I was like, have you watched this? Because if we wanted to do a Lez-ssentials, I would write us a song for this, which is not a consideration when we pick Lez-ssentials these days.
I mean, it has to be something that inspires, you know? It was
inspired.
It is so
what did it inspire? Who knows?
It was so inspirational.
Chaos.
No, but it is so silly. It's just a silly, funny movie. And it is like they said, it is a funny look at backstabbing fake friends and one party gone very, very wrong. That's accurate, right? Like,
yeah.
So I don't know. I found it so funny. We were laughing a lot. Like the check her text.
It's a lot of laughing at a lot of people dying.
Killed me. Yeah, like, it's just we were laughing for like if I see my cousins, like they'll be like, check her text. Like it's like we just quoted and laugh. It's so good. Like it's silly. I don't think it really got that good reviews, to be honest.
No, although we'll dive into the whole review fiasco at some point as well. But I feel like first, should we dive in on like our plot and chat as we go? Especially since I know there are still people like it's not horror, but it is graphic. Like, it's violent. It is not a...
Yeah, and I don't really like the violence either. So some of, like, the deaths, I was like,
it's bloody.
Like, oh, I don't like
this.
But
a lot of people die, but...
sort of lightened it up for me, you know?
So if there are people who are like, this is not a movie I'm going to want to watch, like, we're going to do our best to kind of walk you through, like, here's what happens as best we can, because honestly, it is hard to recreate the experience of watching this film without watching it, because I mean it's like, you know, it's a mystery slasher thriller kind of movie. So but we kick off with some lesbians, which is, I mean, always
delightful.
Just a good selling point for us. If you want to watch nothing other than the first like 2 minutes of this movie,
it's nice.
What a cute little short.
There's
right?
There's an I love you. There's a no I love you back. They've been dating for 6 weeks. So just some context. We have 6 weeks in love bombing kind of situation here, and also 6 weeks in bringing the girlfriend to meet all of your high school friends, I believe.
Yeah, like childhood friends. I don't know. They're a little
that are
wishy-washy about the backstory.
Very, very rich and privileged, and we're going into this space knowing that the girlfriend is a like first generation
working class
immigrant.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, backstory is not the point.
But point is very
not
much
the point of this movie.
She works at the game hut.
Yeah,
but I think class politics are important here. That's all I'm saying.
Yes. So we meet Sophie, who's played by Amandla Stenberg, and clearly not working class. And we meet B, who's her girlfriend. And yeah, again, so it's like she has an accent that I don't think they really get into where she's from. She clearly speaks with her family in what I was assuming was Russian, but I am not the right.
No, I think she is from Russia, because in the movie, one of the rich girls is like, "Oh, Dr. Zhivago is my favorite movie."
Yeah, but here's the thing with this movie, I can't tell if that's like I watched this on a plane and I did not take notes on it, nor did I go back and rewatch it. We are just getting my remembered thoughts from this. So I didn't take notes on if we ever learn where she's actually from, or if people are just assuming
we don't
the same way I am,
from.
because
they're assuming that she's Russian. They ask if she's from Moscow. She says no, and she says Dr. Zhivago is my favorite movie. So that's like that's the kind of people we're dealing with in this film.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we meet Sophie and B, and Sophie immediately is like, "I love you. You don't have to say it back." Like, which just lesbian perfection. I love it. Listen, as someone who has for sure pulled that out, I get it. It's fine.
I love you. You don't have to say it back.
Oh yeah.
Holy.
I think I said it a little less pressure filled than that. I was very genuine with like, you don't have to. This is not a expectation thing, but like I've for sure done that. I think I waited more than 6 weeks though, but
yeah, still.
I'm not gonna promise that.
I don't know if that's true. Yeah, I think you're lying about that, but that's okay.
but wait. Because let's detour real quick just to say sometimes I feel like just saying I love you and leaving it hanging is enough pressure on its own.
Oh, for sure. You sort of do need to qualify it.
There's not
if you
not
don't,
a nice
yeah, if you just say it, if
like,
you just say it and wait, like it's so uncomfortable. So you're not wrong. You sort of have to be
I said it the other way around, which I think feels like a little better, where it's like you don't have to say anything back, but like just so
I
you
just
know.
need to tell you this. Yeah.
Yes. Which
That's
to me
fine.
I feel like is the better
I agree.
ordering.
Yeah.
I say with no bias whatsoever.
Yeah. No bias.
I'm that lesbian, Ellie. Are you surprised at this? Of course
Not
I am.
at all. Not at all.
Did I say I love you first, but that's okay if you don't yet? And did I also pull the like, if you like want to propose, I think you should propose, but I'm ready anytime. Like,
if you want to propose to me, I'm prepared for that, and I will say
no,
yes.
no. It was very it was exactly like if I was proposing, I'd be ready now, and I'm pretty sure you're not gonna be. So like, but I am ready if you decide you want to as well.
Oh my god,
that's also on the table. That's fine. Listen, when I'm in, man, I'm in.
When you're in, you're in. And that's okay. It's a beautiful thing.
She did propose, so
you did the thing.
It all worked out. Anyways, I'm that gay. Who are we kidding?
It's okay.
I'm 100% that bitch. So that's how we meet Sophie and B. Anyways, they're on a road trip. Hooray, to a party. I love the idea of throwing a hurricane party, too. It just feels like there's nothing more millennial than celebrating at every opportunity that the
Climate
world
change?
continues to crumble around us. Just every way. Yeah. Every way that the world continues to disappoint and fail us. And we're just like, let's throw a party then. Because we're never going to have good reasons to party ever again. Yay.
Yes. It is quite millennial.
It's
Do you
so
feel like
relatable.
Is this millennial or Gen Z?
I don't know. It felt millennial to me. I don't know how old these people are supposed to be in the movie.
If it was made in
I don't think it's not a Gen Z quality as well. Let's be real. The world is garbage these days, everyone, for all of us. So
yeah, true. This is like young millennial elders Gen Z.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah. It just feels like the very of this, like this is a 2022 film, right?
Yeah.
This is how we roll these days, right? We're just like, yeah, I guess the world's ending again. Better have a party.
Do drugs and dance in the eye of a hurricane. Why not?
Why not? So they roll up, and B has never met any of these people. And they drive into, I mean, it's like a fucking mansion, right?
Yes.
She's like, oh, let's just hang out at my friend's party mansion. And they drive up. Sophie is so excited. She's like, oh my God, they're going to be so excited to meet you. They drive up. Everyone is in the pool floating underwater for that felt like the most A24 part of this film to me.
They're doing a hold your breath contest.
I get it, but why?
For the shot. Yes, for the shot. For the for the chance to film them all underwater, but for the
A24 reasons,
plot,
right?
They are doing a hold your breath contest.
I just think it's funny, given that so far this season we have talked about Spring Breakers.
Oh yeah, they love
this
a pool.
movie.
They love
from
a pool.
A24. They love a pool. They love an underwater shot. They love a just like you're in water, you're free. The water, the motion.
They love a love triangle.
The hair is floating around you. Yeah, I mean I'm just saying it's an A24 shot. That's what we got. But anyways, everyone hops out and is like, Sophie, you're here. Totally sincere joy, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're not even trying to hide it. Most of them are like, why are you here? You didn't respond to the group text. And she's like, what do you, like, it is. They're so, everyone's fake. Everyone's like, oh my God. When, they did not know she was coming. So, surprise, Sophie is at the party.
And so we meet her friends. So we meet Jordan, who's like one of her best friends. We meet Alice, who is there with some random guy named Greg. We meet her friend David and David's girlfriend. What's her name? Emma? Okay, we meet Emma, right? So like you meet all these people, and I mean they are it seems like an awkward friend group who has like a long history and tepid interpersonal relations with each other now, right?
Yes.
It's so awkward.
Uncomfortable. Very
It's so
uncomfortable.
awkward. And then, it starts like they're like, oh, the storm's coming. Let's run inside. Okay. And then you get these kind of like lead up to the party. They're just doing you're getting some of the dynamics in the group, right? Like you're learning, like Jordan's like warning B about Sophie. And she's like, oh, I don't know. Like, how well do you know her? And
Yeah.
be careful and all this stuff. And they're like, B's walking through the house and like getting the lay of the land and meeting people. And you get like the conversation with David and Sophie about like all sorts of their history.
Yeah, and you
sorts
get
of
that
stuff.
Sophie's trying to be like, hey, have you talked to my parents?
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get her trust fund back. We find out later. So there's some shit going down with Sophie.
Oh, and we also learn that David does not like Greg, right?
Yes.
Yeah, which is important for plot reasons, I guess.
Yeah, does not like Greg because he's older, but he's hotter than him, and he's like, I'm hot, and he's being insecure about this like hot old man.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we learn that Greg is like, oh, maybe served in Afghanistan. Like, oh, I don't know. Like, maybe he's got a weird vibe, but like Alice thinks he's super hot. And that somebody came up and punched him in the eye. What their other friend, right? Like
so
this
their
other
friends,
friend that they keep mentioning
Max,
who's not there.
Yeah. There's Max gets mentioned like throughout the entire movie, and you don't see him until literally the end.
The very, very end, yeah.
He punched him in the face the night before.
Yeah. What else? Is there anything else like important exposition that we get from anything?
I feel like that's good exposition. We do find out that Alice has a podcast, which is comical.
Very important. Very important.
Very important. Alice has a podcast, as two podcasters ourselves. I just found it so hilarious when she's like, oh my God, I love your podcast. She's like, oh my God, fan of the pod. Like, she's so...
That's how you and I talk all the time.
That's
Ellie.
how I talk. If someone says something, I'm like, oh my God, you're a fan of the pod?
Yeah, that's actually how I introduce Kelsey. Like, if we meet new people, I'm not like, oh, this is my wife, Kelsey. I'm like, this is Kelsey, fan of the pod.
Fan of the pod, yeah. Incredible. But Alice and the podcast will come back later, so it's very important. But yeah, that's all the exposition we get until we get to the scene where, like, they're drinking, they're, like, doing a bunch of drugs, whatever. Then we get to the bodies scene, which is, like, the title of the film, right? Yes. And also, what this entire plot point is based on, right? Bodies is like a mafia, is like a... What are those other kind of games, like, that are like that? It's basically like a mafia.
Yeah, like Wolf... Right, like all those kinds of things where it's like, oh, like
someone's
you put
the
your
killer,
head down,
right?
And someone's the killer, and then you close your eyes.
Yeah, and then they like if the killer taps you on the shoulder, then like you're dead, and you have to pretend to be like. This is a little more intense than I've ever played. Like usually we play all in one room and just like in a circle. In this movie, they turn off all the lights. They all like separate and they like go out around the entire house, and like somebody gets killed. So Greg is the first one to be killed in the game, right?
Yeah.
And he's dead on the ground, pretending to be dead. And they think he's dead. And then there's like a jump scare when he's actually not dead. And they're basically like, this is setting up for the rest of the movie, right? They're pointing at other people being like, you're the killer. No, you're the killer, right? I mean, you've played those games before. Like, they definitely do turn a little nasty sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, well, and especially, I mean, it's just... I feel like the thing that I actually super enjoyed about this movie, which is why I thought that Kelsey would not want to watch this movie because she's not big into like horror slasher stuff.
Yeah.
In hindsight, Kelsey for sure does not want to watch this movie because Kelsey's most like the thing she hates so much in movies and in real life is just anything that feels uncomfortable, right? Like any kind of like awkward
like
interactions.
Yeah,
and
so
it's
awkward.
like this, the whole setup of this movie is basically like all these people fucking hate each other, right? Every relationship is bad. So you're like, okay, here's David and his girlfriend. They're like boyfriend, girlfriend, but also they fucking suck to each other and they hate each other and they bitch about each other in that sort of like, oh, I'm saying like it's a joke, but I'm actually really like shitting all over you, like in front of our friends.
David makes Emma cry. And then he's like, she's an actress. She's just faking
an actress.
It and whatever. And you're
right?
like,
and then
Christ.
other people will be like, she's not even that good an actress. Because like they all fucking hate each other. And then someone else will be like, oh my God, like so much fun. And then walk away and be like, I fucking hate her. Like just every
it's fake. Everyone's
line,
fake. Everyone hates each other. Yeah.
Every single thing that everybody says, every interaction is fake and forced and awkward and uncomfortable the whole time. And I'm like, Kelsey would absolutely hate this movie because everything is like that. And also, I do feel like we should mention that before they play bodies, they also play a game for some reason where they take shots and slap
where they
each other.
slap
in
each
the
other.
face.
I'm pretty sure it's called slap shot.
Why?
It's just a thing that people do. They slap each other and they take shots. I do not know. I don't know if I've ever played slap shot before, but I feel like I've heard people, like I have been in spaces where people have played it.
But it's just, it like sets
it's
the
ridiculous.
tone of how fucking
It's
awkward this movie
ridiculous.
is.
Yeah.
Because they're all being like, okay, and now you hit me. But they're like all hitting each other, especially like David full out fucking punches Greg in the face.
Yeah. They're like, oh, now I have an excuse to hit the people I hate.
Now I have an excuse to hit you because we all hate each other. And it's just, I like start to finish. For me, I'm like, I kind of love it about this movie because the whole movie is just so uncomfortable. Like you're just the whole time, which I think is kind of fun.
It's
but
so funny.
I understand.
Yeah.
It is not everyone's cup of tea, and I get it. So anyways, they play Slapshot. They all fucking hate each other. Every interaction is bad. Nobody likes anybody else except for I think Sophie's in love with B, but
otherwise nobody likes you.
Otherwise everything is bad.
Yeah.
And then so they play bodies, and I liked this as a fun little jump thing where it's like you, especially if you go in knowing you're like, oh, it's a kind of horror-ish, thing. Like you think Greg's dead, right?
Yeah.
He does a great job of like playing the dead body and kind of kicking off this whole thing where nobody super knows what's happening. Like you get to see Alice get a little like freaked out about like, wait, did he legit die? Like what's going on? No one really knows what's going on. And also they do it where they're like already kind of moving around the house and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, it's not how I've ever played a game like that, but it is a good thing for like the movie when you're just like everyone's like sort of moving around the house and like trying to escape the fake killer, and then I think
it felt like a very like Clue throwback,
it's
like very
meta.
reminiscent,
And then I think, did they say David's the killer or David's just like fuck this game and he leaves?
I think they start accusing David because he already hated Greg very obviously, right?
Yeah, because David ends up leaving before they play the next round. And I think it's because they said he's the killer. And if the killer gets basically kicked out.
Oh my God, Ellie, do you know what we forgot? We forgot a very important plot point. They had champagne and Greg sabered the champagne open.
Yes. That is a very important
That's a
plot
very
point.
important plot point that David felt very emasculated by the fact that Greg knew how to saber open
a champagne bottle.
Champagne bottle, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so David gets pissed. Everyone's already pissed playing this game, right? Like everything just sort of goes off the rails so fast. And David leaves, and I think Greg leaves too, right? Doesn't Greg leave to like
Greg does
go to bed? Greg's like, I'm old, I want to go to bed. Which again, relatable content.
Mm-hmm.
Greg
like,
leaves
to go to bed.
Mm-hmm. I'm tired too. Like this is a lot of drinking and drugs and partying.
He's like, I'm tired, and he's also sick of these like 20-year-olds like David giving him shit because David's basically being an asshole to him, and he's like, I just don't even need to be here. Like I'm gonna go to sleep. So he leaves.
Yeah.
David leaves. Now we have both of them are gone, and they do another round, and then they see David. B finds David basically like hands come up against the glass wall. He slides down. She's like, oh my God. She opens the door. She starts screaming like, help. He's bleeding profusely from his neck. Something has happened to him.
Out in the storm, in like a raging hurricane.
Rains, and they have no clue what happened to him. And this kicks off the chaos of this film.
Just an absolute mess, right? Because everyone runs outside. Like B watched this happen from inside the window. All the lights have gone off, right? Like the storm knocked the power out. So there's no lights. Everyone's holding their phones. Everyone is just sort of like cradling this dead, bled out body. His girlfriend's like losing her shit, right?
Yep.
They're all soaking wet, covered in blood, high, drunk.
Yep.
Just a
Messed
recipe for everyone to be at their best, right?
Yep. And they already hate each other and are suspicious of, don't think that anyone there is a kind-hearted person. So basically they're like,
Yeah.
anyone here could be a murderer.
And it's just, and it is like shit hits the fan so fast.
So fast.
It goes from 0 to 60
It's
like in
crazy.
a heartbeat, because they're like, there's no power, there's no phone service, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no way to leave. Right?
Yeah, the
like they
car's
go,
dead.
they immediately go try to like trek out to get to a car because they're like, we can't call for help, and so they like hike to their fucking car. I don't know why they parked so far away from the house. They're like, oh, we're at a mansion, let's park 3 miles away. But so they like hike through this hurricane to try to like get through their car, and they're like, oh, we left B had accidentally left the mirror light on
Yep.
or something, so the car battery's dead, so car won't start. No way to contact anyone, no way to leave, nowhere to go, dead body, no one knows what's happening, right?
And now we have to go back inside because there's a hurricane.
Yeah.
Go back inside.
So they hike the 3 miles back to the house.
And the only other person who's not with them is Greg. So they're like, oh my God, Greg. We don't know Greg. We know nothing about him. He could.
Well, and they ask Alice, right? Which I think this is like, to me, this scene is Rachel Sennett's crowning scene in this whole movie, where they're like, what do you know about Greg? And she's like, he's hot, you guys. He's good
hot.
person.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And they're like, do you know, like, where he's from, where he lives, what his job
middle
is,
name.
what
Yeah,
his middle
anything.
name is? And she's like, we met at a
a
bar.
restaurant.
Like,
Yeah. He ordered this drink. Like, she literally
He's-
knew nothing about him.
no, she knows that he's a Libra moon. Like, very
Yes,
important
very
stuff,
important.
right?
She says Libra moon so often.
That
And
says a lot about a person,
That
Ellie.
means that he could not be a murderer. Libra moons are never murderers, Leigh. They should have, to be fair, they should have listened to her.
God.
Libra moons are not murderers.
So true. So yeah, so they're all freaking out, and there's already like people have knives in their like I think Jordan's holding like a fucking cleaver this whole conversation. Like they're losing their mind, and so they're like,
Unhinged.
where is Greg? Right? Because like we don't even know where he is, so we have to go find him, right? And figure out what is going on. So then they're like, you know, again, just gotta love a movie where it's like everyone's on their flashlights on their phone.
It's amazing.
Like I do love the lighting choices that they came up with is great. So they're all like holding their phones, they're walking through the house, they're trying to figure out like where did Greg go, because he said he was going to bed, right?
Yep.
So they said he's going
not
to
in
bed. He's not in bed.
In his room. They find a bunch of shit in like a survival kit in his, because he wanted to have a survival kit for the hurricane with like a knife in it and with a map that has the house circled. And they're like, oh my God, he's a psycho. Why is the house circled? Which honestly, we never find out why the house is circled.
Well, probably because it's a house he's never been to, so you'd want to mark it on a map.
I
It's
know.
a mansion in the middle of fucking
just
nowhere.
find
Maybe
it
he's
funny.
just a prepared guy.
I just find it funny. They
Ellie,
literally
who
never
got
give him
tired
the chance.
at a party full of 20-somethings and wanted to go to bed, okay?
They never even give him a chance to explain the circle. That's all I'm saying.
No, they don't. So they start wandering through. They do find David's girlfriend. She's like losing, she's, you know, like
Losing
full
it.
on devolving as a human, like under a sheet or something.
Give her a Xanax, as any kind drugged up 26-year-old would do.
And then they go try to find Greg, and they find Greg in the gym with a creepy fucking light up mask on his face, right?
Because he has seasonal depression.
Yes.
Okay.
Poor
It's a sad
Greg, man.
mask. I know. Greg gets the shit end of the stick. So yeah, they find
Greg's got headphones in. He's just vibing.
He's trying to relax. Like he just couldn't sleep, and he's like, all right, let me just chill out here. And he ends up being assaulted by like five young women. I don't know how many of them are there in that at this point. It's
I think
Emma,
there's
Jordan.
Emma,
It's 5 of
Alice,
them. I think it's 5 of them.
Jordan, Sophie, and B, right? So there's
So
five
there's
girls.
five of them surrounding him. And
Yeah.
he's a gigantic man, but he's
Yes.
also like a gentle giant. But they're like, you're the murderer, you killed. And he's like, let's just
Well,
all
and they're
calm
like
down.
holding a knife
They're
to
holding
him, and he's
knives,
like,
yeah.
"What the fuck? Like, what's going on?" Like, I don't know how he doesn't notice that half of them are like covered head to toe in blood already.
Yeah, literally insane.
So yeah, and then they're like, "Why did you kill David?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? Like in the game?" And he's like, "No, I wasn't." He's like, "David didn't get killed. Like I got killed? Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
And he's trying to figure out what's going on. They're all like straight up accusing this dude of murder, right? And he doesn't even understand what's happening or that anyone is serious. But they are holding knives to him, so he's like, okay, like, well, you're all like tiny, coked up little like girls, so I'm just gonna take this knife.
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, probably not as hard as you'd imagine. Like, they're all very drunk on a lot of drugs, losing their fucking minds, right? So he like takes the knife and he's like, okay, like, everybody put their weapons down and like, let's figure this out, right? And then somebody like straight up jumps him,
B.
right? No, not B. Emma, I think, jumps him, and then he like throws her off, being like, what the fuck? Like, why are you on my back?
Yep.
And so then everyone is like, he's the murderer. Like, what's happening? Like, everyone's scuffling over the knife or whatever. And then, yeah, B straight up fucking kills him with a weight, like a dumbbell, like a, what's it called? Like a kettlebell, right?
Yeah.
Like, fucking brains this guy with a kettlebell. So we're off to a great start to this party.
My favorite thing is after she kills him, then Alice starts flipping the fuck out. And they're like, well, he was gonna kill us. Like, he was in the military and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
She's like, what are you talking about? He is a
And they're like,
vet.
wasn't he in Afghanistan?
No, he's a veterinarian's assistant. This man was never in the military. You just killed a veterinary assistant. Like,
oh my God. And he
insane.
was so hot, Ellie. He was so
so hot. He was so hot.
Yeah, and so then immediately everything's sort of like, the allegiances in this movie are sublime.
Tenuous.
Because it's just amazing how quickly they're like, it was Greg killed him. And then they like straight up murder fucking Greg. And then she's like, Greg was so hot. Like, what do we know about B? And you're like, oh my God, this is hilarious.
I know. I mean, to be fair, like, we wouldn't have a movie if they didn't turn on each other. But like, if they just killed Greg and were like, okay, Greg's the murderer, and then they're like chilling for the rest of the movie, then only one person would have been dead. But because this entire movie is just like, okay, Greg's not the murderer, so it has to be you. Like, whoever's the murderer just keeps getting, they think is the murderer just keeps getting killed. Like, they could have killed maybe one person and had a, still would have been pretty fucked up, but they just had to keep going. So yeah, now they're like, B just straight up murdered this man. So now B is a murderer, even though she thought she was murdering a murderer. It's so chaotic.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey, y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey, guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
You come to the New Yorker Radio Hour for conversations that go deeper with people you really want to hear from, whether it's Bruce Springsteen or Questlove or Olivia Rodrigo, Liz Cheney, or the godfather of artificial intelligence, Jeffrey Hinton, or some of my extraordinarily well-informed colleagues at The New Yorker. So join us every week on the New Yorker Radio Hour, wherever you listen to podcasts.
With something like 5 million podcasts, finding a really good one can take a ton of time. So let me recommend one. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in each episode, we discuss topics that can be really helpful, like how to read people better, the psychology of crowds, Or fun things like the story of Legos, or why you probably wouldn't be here if it weren't for horses. Something You Should Know is the name of it, wherever you get your podcasts.
Oh, it just devolves so fast. So they kill Greg, and then everyone sort of like separates again, which again, so many things could have been solved in this movie if everybody just like sat down.
Literally,
like,
they could have just sat still. And that was the only room in the house that had lights. So most of like, you could have just like, I mean, I guess you don't want to chill with a dead body, but like you could have sat in there and like just talked it out. But no, you're all deranged and don't trust anyone. So here we go.
Yeah. Well, and then everyone starts coming after Sophie because they're like, "Are you on drugs? Like, are you doing drugs right now?" And so everyone is just sort of trying to, like, you know, they're accusing Sophie of being on drugs. They're accusing B of straight up murdering Greg. They're accusing Greg of having murdered David. They're accusing Emma of Max being in love with her and coming back and murdering David secretly in the night, in the hurricane. They're accusing, like, I don't even, it's hard to keep track. It's hard to keep track of all of the accusations flying around, like, just at every turn. And everyone just keeps getting pissed and then like wandering off, right?
Yep.
They'll be like, "Why are you accusing me? Like, I'm out of here." And so they just sort of keep disappearing. B runs off to change, right? Like she goes to get changed.
Because she's so bloody. She has to shower. She has Greg's blood all over her. She showers and she does her makeup.
She did just kill a man, you know.
And she does her makeup.
I mean, all of these people are on drugs and in shock, which is a great combination to have. And so who goes next? It's like, it's hard to even keep track of stuff. So right. Emma.
Sophie does start getting off the rails. She does do drugs.
She does do drugs.
And so she's getting crazy again. She finds more drugs. And then she runs into Emma. Emma kisses her.
Yeah.
And is like, "That's what you wanted." And she's like, "You've got to be fucking kidding me. You think everyone's in love with you. I'm not in love with you." And she's like, "You know what? Here, take these drugs that I have." And she gives the drugs to Emma. Emma takes those drugs. Well, we find out later then just what happened to Emma.
And then just stumbles away.
Yes. And then somebody later, you hear a scream. Alice has tripped over Emma's dead body at the bottom of the stairs. So now Emma's dead, and now we have the four of them left, and this gets deranged.
Everything is deranged everywhere. So
now they're accusing B. They kick her out of the house. She's literally outside in a hurricane, and they will not let her back in.
Mm-hmm.
And then B sees Jordan with a gun, which also we have
which they said they didn't have. Right?
I know. They may be rich, but their politics check out.
Yeah.
That's what she says. But yeah, so there are guns in the house. And B sees her with a gun and she's like, "I have to save my girlfriend who I love. Jordan can't kill her with the gun." She climbs through the doggy door to get back into the house. She comes in and she's like, "Jordan has a gun. You can't trust her." And Jordan's like, "No, I don't have a gun." And then they have this whole fight about Alice's podcast. I don't know even how this happens because Jordan's like, "What the fuck?" And then Sophie's like, "You don't even like Alice. You hate her podcast." And Alice is
it's
like,
just everybody hates everyone and is looking for like any excuse to turn on people, right? Like it is. Oh, it's so bad. It's so bad. They're all just like, none of these people are great people.
No.
I mean, to be fair, right?
No.
And so, they're kind of like, you're bad for this reason. You're bad for this reason. You're bad because you're on drugs. You're bad because your podcast sucks. Like, you're bad for lying to her about her podcast sucking. Like,
yeah. And Sophie's also like, "You are all bad for abandoning me when I went to rehab. And you like didn't care about me. All you guys can do drugs as much as you want, but like, I'm the one with the problem," and blah, blah, blah. And then they're all just fighting about it. Then we do find out Jordan actually did have a gun. And she's like, "Shut up, everyone." Points the gun at them. And you do not want to introduce a gun into this situation. Everything escalates so quickly. They all start fighting. They're like fighting over the gun. Alice ends up getting shot.
Yes.
And Jordan's like, "I didn't do it, I swear." But she still has the gun.
And she won't put the gun down. She won't like do anything. There's
Oh,
somewhere in there, there's a
also
whole
there's a whole thing,
conversation
yeah.
about their like, B isn't who she said she was. Like, she's lying about school or she's lying about her job. And she's like, I lost my job, but I'm taking care of my mom. I didn't want to tell you. And like, I didn't want you to break up with me. Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
and my
in the
mom has
middle of all of
borderline
this,
and all
there's
this
a
other
very
shit.
cute love story happening, you know?
I mean, and yeah, so this is why this is a Lez-ssentials, because we're, as everyone's backstabbing, as everyone's fighting, B is like, I need to save my girlfriend, right? Her whole thing is like, I'm gonna protect my girlfriend. She killed Greg to protect her girlfriend,
Yeah.
right? And then there's this other like lesbian love triangle we got going on, because Jordan's like, Sophie says she loves you, but she told me to meet her at her apartment and we had sex in her car.
Yeah.
Oh, and she does say this before B goes outside, because B goes outside, goes into the car.
No. It's after, but she'd like already found the stuff in the car, and then she tells her that they like hooked up in the car or something, right?
No,
Because I feel like when you see her find the stuff in the car, you don't know what it means yet.
I thought she did. Actually, you might be right. No.
I think you
She
don't
finds-
know, and then
She finds the stuff in the car when she gets kicked out. So
Yeah.
she had gotten kicked out into the hurricane before Jordan had told her any of this. She
Yeah.
finds her underwear, but earlier
and then she sneaks back in and they have the
her
conversation.
Bra. She also found
Yeah.
her bra. I forgot about that. She found her bra
Yeah.
earlier, and she was like, "Why are you touching my bra?"
Yep. And so and
they're
but-
matching
so she
yellow.
finds this. Yeah, they're matching yellow, and she finds the stuff in the car, and then comes back, and then Jordan's like, "We fucked in your car. Like, check her texts, right?" And so
Mhm.
now, like,
Check
B's
her
feeling
text.
check her
Her
text.
text.
B's feeling conflicted. Like, she doesn't know who to trust. Sophie's like, it's not true. She's lying. Like, she's just trying to get in your head, and she's trying to like, get in between us. Check her text.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, so that whole triangle starts happening, right? And B's a little suspicious, but it's like, okay, whatever. So then you have that suspicion starting to come. Jordan just kills Alice after she's like talked about her podcast, how she's their funny. It's just, what did she say? That was so funny when she's like, it's just your funniest and smartest friend.
Yeah.
Conversations with your funniest and smartest friend. Like, what a fucking hilarious tagline.
I think we
Yeah.
should rebrand
I
the
think we should,
podcast.
for sure. So Alice is dead now.
Your
and
funniest and smartest and most lesbian friends. That's
Yes.
it's a
the
new,
lesbians
it's
you
the
want to
new
hang out with
show.
at your potluck. That's what we started with, remember?
Yeah.
But now Jordan's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Sophie's coming towards her, like trying to get
Jordan's
the gun
got the
from
gun.
her.
They're
Yeah.
like backing their way up the stairs, obviously, because where else would you
course.
go?
Then B tackles her over the stairs. She falls over the railing. She like has clearly like fallen on her back. She's about to die. She starts shooting in the air with a gun, and she keeps saying, check her text. Literally as she's dying. The
And
only
she falls like 5
She-
fucking floors
as
down like a
she-
spiral staircase. It's not. It's like 2 floors, but whatever. But she's
but
like,
that's what cracked me up so much. I'm like, how gay and petty is this? Her dying wish is to
Yeah.
be like, I promise you we fucked. Check her text. And then she
It's
dies.
So
That was my
funny.
favorite part of the entire movie.
Oh my
It was
god.
so
Because it's
funny.
ludicrous. But like that's the thing. It's like it all works. It all
'Cause
works for
it's
me.
So
But
ridiculous.
it's absolutely bonkers. It's absolutely bonkers. So
and then
now
we're left
you
with
have
our 2 lesbians.
Yes, so we have our 2 lesbians left, Sophie and
Only
B.
2 alive.
And I think at this point like they aren't even sure if they trust each other anymore, right? Because now they're like, okay, well it's down to just the 2 of us. So like who the fuck killed everyone?
Yeah.
Right?
But
And,
the
like,
funny
and-
thing is, you killed everyone.
Well, but here's what's so funny is it's like I do love how they have this conversation where she's like, I fucking love lesbians, man. I love how she's like, you can tell me, like it's okay. I just want to know, right? Like Sophie's
Yeah,
like,
she's like,
did you?
I'll still love you if you killed,
Yeah,
if
she's
you
like,
killed David.
if you kill David, like I just want you to tell me, right? Like it's
Yep.
okay. Did you kill him? And B's like, no, I didn't fucking kill David. And she's like, well, you killed Greg. And she's like, well, yeah, if I killed Greg.
Yeah,
to,
she's like, I literally, you saw me
protect
kill him.
you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and so she's like, did you kill David? And she's like, no. And then, but B's like, did you fuck Jordan in the
Yep.
car? Right? Like, they're still kind of both just like flinging shit at each other, like every turn. I mean, there's just no avoiding it in this movie. And so she's like, will you just will you tell me the truth? Like, did you sleep with Jordan? And Sophie's like, no. Which, like, I mean, obviously none of us watching the movie believe her either, right?
No, I don't believe
And so then
you
you're
at
like,
all. This woman's dying wish was check the text. If she, like, girl was about to die, like, she check the text. So now she's trying to check her text.
Can you imagine if her dying with had just been like, sorry, I was fucking with you?
Yeah, it was a joke. No, she's serious. So then they're fighting over the cell phone, right? That's the whole thing.
So they run away, right? Like B runs away and Sophie's trying to like follow her and find her, and they sort of end up like back outside. Right? So she sort of chases her down. They like make their way through the house an awful lot of this movie is just walking in the dark through this house, right? But they make their way outside, and B is still desperately trying to check her text. Check her text. And she's like, the sun's finally come out, the rain has stopped, the hurricane has kind of like cleared up. She's like, there's David's like very bloody fucking corpse still lying outside. And Sophie comes up and is like, I love you. Like, hey, I've been looking for you. Like, big hug. And B's like, where's your text?
Where's your phone? Yeah.
Where's your phone? Oh, I think Sophie confesses to like giving Emma the drugs. And she's like, I think she just fell down the stairs. Right. And so now there's like, she's still like, B has the gun. Right. So she's like, at gunpoint, I have to see your texts. Sophie's like,
I love how that is what it comes to. Like, is like, I just want to see your text. Like, I'm not gonna. I will murder you to see your text at this point.
If you straight up killed a veterinary assistant in cold blood for your girlfriend, like, wouldn't you want to see the text?
Of 6 weeks, you better see those texts.
Listen, lesbians, if you're gonna kill a man to protect your girlfriend, like maybe 3 months at least, you know?
Exactly. And like, she better show you her text.
Just an idea. Check the texts first is all we're saying. Check her text.
I don't know.
If our dying words to you could be anything, they would be
check her text.
Okay. Everyone else is so tired of this and you and I are still having a great time.
I'm loving it.
So anyways, they roll into the pool. They're like fighting over the phone, right? They get the phone and she like goes to open the phone and she's like, that isn't registering my face. And she's like, that's not my phone. And so B is like looking over at poor little David's dead feet. Pete Davidson gets the shit end of this whole movie, right?
Oh yeah.
So she like,
he's dead from like the first like 10 minutes.
Yeah. So she realizes like, oh, this must be David's phone. So she like goes over and pulls his little eyelids open to like unlock his
literally hilarious.
Like, he uses his face to unlock his phone.
We love a face ID on a dead person.
Yeah. And so they unlock David's phone to find the absolute chef's kiss pièce de résistance of this movie, right? Which is David being like, ugh, fucking Greg, fucking saber and champagne bottle. He's like, I could do that shit. Like, I could saber a champagne bottle. And so he has this fucking sword, right? And he's like trying to do like sick moves with his sword. He's very like Star Wars kid, like waving this little sword around and trying to like open a champagne bottle, but he can't fucking do it at all, right? And so in his very efficient way of doing this, he starts trying to like pull towards himself to like open this champagne bottle and fucking slices his own neck open and bleeds
and we
to death
find out that
in a storm.
That David accidentally killed himself at the beginning and now everyone else just got murdered by these two lesbians.
Listen, to be fair, only Greg was murdered. Emma
Greg was
fell.
murdered. Emma sort of
Jordan
fell.
for sure shot Alice in that whole scuffle, right?
Yeah,
and
you're
then yeah, I guess it's mostly B actually. Sophie, I don't think actually killed anyone.
Unless Sophie was the one who knocked Jordan over. I can't remember if it was B or Sophie.
I feel like it was both of them. I think
Either
it was
way,
mostly
like,
B and possibly both of them.
My thing at the end of this is like, you have a bunch of dead people and you're the only survivors. Like, I'm not feeling super optimistic for these two.
No, and literally Max, like the other friend who was missing, just like wanders back in through the gate and he's like, "What's up?"
What's
and then
that?
he's like,
What'd I
"That's a dead
miss?"
body." Like, what?
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh, buddy, it's only starting."
I think too. Wait, did David post a TikTok of himself?
Yes.
It was a right? How did it get posted?
Well, I don't know if he posted it, but I think he like made the video on a TikTok. I don't know if he posted it or not. If he did, it was while he was bleeding to death.
Yeah, it is a TikTok video.
Yeah, but
so
it is a TikTok
did he go
video.
live?
No, it's like it's in the creation screen. So it's like where you could add your
Okay.
captions or do your whatever. So I don't think he posted it. I think he was just like mid making a TikTok and the video is still there.
Okay.
Right?
So I was like, did he go live? And he's literally just like, this entire thing is posted live on his, like, just running around killing other people. But yeah, so it's absurd. It is absolutely absurd, and it is such a hilarious commentary on just like social media culture too, right? Of like trying to do something stupid and silly on fucking TikTok killed this man. And
it's just ludicrous. It's like I think the thing is you have to go in with a healthy, like, ready to have a sense of humor about the whole thing, because it's kind of like watching Bottoms, right? Like,
it's
you
so
can't
silly.
you can't go in taking it seriously because it is a deeply unserious film.
Yes.
And it's like the suspense is fun and the stuff is like stupid and fun and the dialogue is hilarious and the performances are great, but it
Gold.
is so fucking bonkers of a movie. And the idea of like it's just their little faces. I think it's mostly Bee's face at the end. Like, that actress really sells for me that whole little like sad puppy dog, like what the fuck little look on her face at the end when she's like holding this little phone up and she's just like, like, I just murdered a lot of people.
Yep. And
I
she
just
was
wanted to have a job at Game Hut. And you're like, oh, sweetie.
Just wanted to meet the answer to this too is, if you work at Game Hut, do not date a rich girl. You're getting in over your fucking head. Like, that was insane.
It was wild. It's wild. And so, but I do love that it's like everybody dies but the two lesbians.
Exactly. I mean, that's why we put it on our Lez-ssentials, because when you, like, the lesbians survive at the end, right?
Yeah.
And really the main, like, I think too, it's more about like, I don't know, we talk about this a bunch of like, it'd be good for us to have more queer films where like being gay isn't like the story.
Yeah.
Right? These two characters, their story isn't that they're gay. Their story is that they're a lesbian couple who shows up to this crazy ass fucking party and they're the only ones left standing at the end and they kill a bunch of people in the middle. Like, you know, like, it matters that they're lesbians because like we like to see that the lesbians are there and they're not dead, and like you see their love story, quote unquote love story. They're together for 6 weeks, but it's a movie that features lesbians, but it's not a lesbian movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't really affect the plot that they're lesbians, but it's nice that they are.
Exactly. And it's like, I feel like out of the majority of the couples there, they're the ones who are seen kissing the most. They're the ones who like are they're the protagonists.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I do think it is funny to me that it's like, despite the cheating, murder accusations, straight up murder committed for each other, they're the most functional couple.
For sure. And
at this
I mean,
party.
by the end, I do feel like, I mean, they're together forever at this point. Like,
last couple standing.
If one of them goes down, the other goes down. So like, I feel like they got to get their story straight.
Think of the wedding reception speeches you could give after this experience.
Like, I killed a man for you. Like, I know you said I love you and I didn't say it back, but me saying it back was when I killed Greg.
Yeah.
That was my way of showing you how much I love you. Yeah, it is wild.
It's a wild ride. It's a wild ride. I also kind of love it because it's like, it is not our typical Lez-ssentials, but you know, I don't like. I feel like this was a successful Lez-ssentials pick for me. You know,
for sure.
This really did.
Wait, did you want to talk? You said you wanted to talk about the reviews.
Oh my god, yes. Okay, so listen. we have to shout out Abby for this one, because Abby's who let me know about this, because I had somehow missed this entire Discord around this movie. But I was telling her about the song, and she was like, oh my God, is that the one that had this like whole fiasco around the review? And I was like, what are you talking about? And so I had to go do a whole deep dive. And so, yes, so when this movie came out, New York Times columnist wrote a review of this movie. Lena Wilson, who is queer, wrote this review. And it kicked off this whole debacle around this review, because basically the review included a quote where she said the movie doubles as a 95-minute advertisement for cleavage, largely talking about Amandla Stenberg. Okay. And so Amandla Stenberg wrote a DM to Lena Wilson, the white New York Times like nepo baby reviewer of this film, right? Writes this DM back to her that just goes, hey, your review was great. Maybe if you had gotten your eyes off my tits, you would have watched the movie. Right?
Incredible.
Which she was like, I thought that was a very funny comeback to that review, because she's like, I'm gay, like Lena Wilson's gay, like I thought it was funny because like I just don't know that was necessary. Like I'm tired of people commenting on my body all the time, like that. Like I'm proud of this movie, and like I mean, first of all, like a wholeheartedly accurate response, because I'm like, literally I read that quote, like Lena Wilson's quote about like, oh, like an advertisement for cleavage, and maybe it's because I'm just hot off the press with Spring Breakers, but I'm like, Spring Breakers was an advertisement for cleavage.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm like, the movie's in 90% darkness. Like,
yeah, I'm also like, I love tits, and I didn't notice that.
No, I didn't at all. Not even a little bit. I'm like, if you paid me $1 million to tell you what color shirt Sophie was wearing in this movie, like I couldn't have done it, right? So I was like, okay, accurate. Like if you only noticed cleavage in this movie, you were not watching the movie. Like, for sure, right? So anyways, but then Lena Wilson decided to like post the DMs as somehow assuming that people were going to take her side, and people were like, yeah, like I don't understand why you thought you were gonna come out on top in this one, because so then it like kicked off this whole thing where people were like, well, and like who the fuck even are you? Which then prompted this whole deep dive into her backstory, where I guess she had done an interview at one point where she was like, oh, like, yeah, I'm a New York Times editor because, like, I guess I'm just talented is all. But, like, ignoring the fact that her father is an editor at the New York Times, you know? And so you're just like, what part of you thought that this was going to end well for you? Like, just take the L and go home. Wild.
Girl,
just
Lena.
Wild. But I think my favorite thing, though, is I found an article... I found an article that was talking about this whole controversy, and it goes like this. They break it into a little triplet, and so it just goes like your review, you are all lowercase. Your review was great. Maybe if you had gotten your eyes off my tits, you could have watched the movie. And it goes 3 lines, 19 words. Poetry in arguably its finest 21st century form. Instagram DM. Amandla Stenberg could have written Hamlet, but Shakespeare certainly could not have written this. And I just think it's incredible. So shout out to Sarita Irani, who wrote for the Michigan Daily. Just art.
Shout out
art.
to Amandla Stenberg also. Like,
yeah,
I mean, that is hilarious. Like, that is a hilarious comeback, because also it is like, it was pretty, like, it was a great film. I thought, like, it was so funny. Like, the acting, like, is perfect for what it is, like, for what each of these characters was supposed to be. They embodied them perfectly. Like, so the acting was really good.
I thought everyone in this was great.
Like, I don't know. I just think it's such a clever, like, it is such a clever take on the bodies. Like, whoever, like, sat there and was like, oh my God, what if we wrote this entire movie about if bodies was freaking real? And it's perfect. Like, it is a, like, scene. It's like this, like, scene study of just, like, the perfectly written
It's a great
character.
Twist.
Like, it's so good.
It's a great, like, it's a comedy of errors as a horror, and it's it's good. I
It's
know we
so
gave
funny.
Spring Breakers like a ton of shit for so much stuff, but I'm like, this is a great movie. Like A24 fucking killed it on this one, right? Like great script, great plot, great, like the reveals are perfect. Good timing, good pacing.
Yeah, I highly recommend taking watching this movie. Get some friends together. I do feel like it's so fun to watch with other people.
Yeah.
Like it was so fun to watch with my cousins, like because we were just like, what is happening? You can share the chaos together. Like,
Listen, I'm still I
delightful.
might still try to talk Kelsey into watching this with me, even though I know she will hate so many things about it. But I'm like, it's so good. It's so good. I feel like we should go back, Ellie. Let's add a spoiler alert at the top, because I do think if you haven't seen this movie, watching it blind the first time is so worth it. So we'll go back. We're gonna add a PSA for everyone, just in case, because we really kind of jumped right on the spoilers so fast at the top because we wanted everyone to know the lesbians don't die. But I think this is a great movie. It's a great movie. I was so excited to write a song like immediately because we're climbing up there, I think, in terms of like the number of sort of horror-ish, like, you know, slashery, thrillery movies that we have in like the queer canon. We love a horror film, and we don't have a ton, right? So I think this is like a fun thing to have on the list of like just good, fun, clean gay movies to watch.
Agreed.
Like, what a good time.
What a great time. Are you ready to go into our Q and Gay, Leigh?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
All right, here we go.
Q and Gay.
Question number 1, Leigh. Have you ever played Bodies, Bodies, Bodies? A, yes. B, no.
I haven't played Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I've played other
version
the
of it.
Similar type games. Yeah. So like
Yes.
I've played like the Mafia-esque like wolf kind of game, but I have not specifically played it called Bodies, 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 and I have not had to slap all of my friends first.
And I feel like we've talked about this before. If you're the killer, like nobody can ever tell it's you.
I mean, I'm not bad at these games, you know.
Yeah, you're good.
I will say if you are looking for a game night to like really just destabilize every relationship in your friends group, these are great choices.
This is it. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it.
Great games. Okay, question 2, Ellie. Do you think Sophie and B will work things out? Yes or no?
Honestly, yes. Which is crazy.
You think Sophie's proposing tomorrow?
I think that this has trauma bonded them, and this is it. Like, you can't leave after that. Like, they need to take that shit to their grave. So yeah, they're gonna be loving each other.
Can you imagine if you kill a man for your girlfriend and then like 2 weeks later you're like, actually, I think we should just break up?
No, they can't. That's what I'm saying.
You can't do it.
They're in too deep.
You're in it for life at that point, right?
Yeah, that's it. That shit's forever. Question number 3. Which character would you most want to kill? A, David, B, Greg, C, Alice, or D, Sophie?
Listen, sorry to Pete Davidson, but David was kind of the worst.
David was such a dick.
In defense of that sword, David kind of sucked. He was shitty to his girlfriend. He was shitty to his friends. He was shitty to his friends' boyfriends. He just kind of sucked all around. So I feel like they should have just, left David's body out in the rain and like kept partying and had a good time that night.
I agree.
Sorry to this man.
Sorry to this man.
Question 4, Ellie. What was the most ridiculous death out of A, the sword to the neck, B, the kettlebell braining, C, Emma getting drugged up and falling downstairs, or D, check her text?
Check her text. That's my favorite one. I don't know if it's the most ridiculous, but it's my favorite.
No, it is the most ridiculous. Let's be real.
Yeah, it's my favorite.
It's so petty. It's so petty with your
funny.
dying breath to be like, I'ma fuck your relationship up.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Jordan, I get why Jordan's like, this fucking bitch. Like, she's acting like she loves you, but she just slept with me.
To be fair, I think she does love her. She's just bad at it,
She's so bad, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, question number 5. Are you the podcast friend? A, yes. B, no. Or C, our favorite, Not yet.
You fucking know we are, Ellie.
We are your podcast
You know
friends,
who we are.
baby. That's us.
We know this
Friends-
about ourselves.
Friends of the
okay?
pod.
Friends of the pod. Fan of the
So-
pod.
Oh,
Yeah, listen.
So ridiculous.
We are who we are, okay? For better or worse. This
For
is
better.
just-
Yeah, we are. All right. Remember, you can give us your own answers to this episode's Q&A questions on our Twitter at Lez Hang Out Pod. And as we do for every one of our Lez-ssentials, we have some drinking game rules for this one. We'd like to remind you, please drink responsibly. Do not get too crazy, because these will get you pretty messed up if you really follow them to a T. Okay?
And also tweet or DM us while you're doing
And
it.
please let us know if you're doing them, because we'd love hearing about it. Drinking game rule number 1. Every time Jordan says, check her text. 2, every time the lesbians are making out. We love that one. 3, every time someone dies. 4, every time David is a dick. Always. 5, every time Alice mentions her podcast. Classic. 6, every time someone mentions Sophie going to rehab. 7, every time Sophie says, I love you to B. And 8, every time B kills a man for her girlfriend.
Or
That's
a
it.
woman. I mean, she does push Jordan off a...
Or a woman.
We'll say every time B kills someone.
Someone.
For her,
girlfriend.
Great.
So please drink responsibly.
Listen,
Be careful.
Those last
enjoy
two are
yourself.
they're just their love languages, right? Like Sophie's is words of affirmation. B's is killing people.
That's it.
My love language is murder, okay? You just have to
Okay.
take me as I am. Take me, baby.
Yeah.
Leave me.
And
Okay.
then I wouldn't even be surprised if this unhinged film just ended with a musical number.
That would have been perfect, honestly.
Insane. But
Hey,
yes.
but you know what? We're going to end it with a musical number because we'll have a bonkers song coming right up.
So true. Stick around for that song.
Let me hear you say hip, 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 well, yeah.
We love hearing from all of you. We love continuing to build this community. So we just want to shout out some of our favorite things every episode. And we want to start with Johnny, who left a YouTube comment on way back our Phantom of the Opera promo video.
Bring
for
it back. Bring it back.
for one of our live shows, right? What
Yeah,
that
it was for one of our Should Have Been Gay Lives.
Incredible. So his comment was, I want to see a lesbian production of Phantom, which same, Johnny,
Agreed.
same. But we hardly ever get cool stuff like that in my small Midwestern city. Any chance that someone's released one on DVD somewhere at some point? So if you know of a lesbian interpretation of Phantom, please
That's been fully
hit us up.
illegally recorded. Because you know you can't. You could not put that online.
We need, if you can mail us the
Yeah,
floppy
give us-
disk.
send us
Okay?
send us the
This
DVD,
is-
please.
That's what we need. If you have one,
Incredible.
let us know.
We also want to shout out Al, who reached out to us on Instagram and said that they're a big fan of the podcast and they're up to date on every single episode. So good for you, Al. That's a lot of freaking episodes, and we're glad you're
So many
here for this
episodes.
one. And I know that a while ago they asked us to watch the Gap series, and they're asking us again. So Leigh, this is the second time they're asking, so we got to watch the Gap series on YouTube.
Okay, we gotta get
All
on
right.
it.
We're gonna get on it.
As always, we want to thank our Lesbian Jesus patrons, Mark Foster,
Tanya Ferguson,
Jacqueline Rose Nishino,
Sarah and Julia,
Alana Rosen,
Lizette Stye,
Adi Benitez,
and Fiona W.
and our King Princess patrons, Amy and Ellen,
Julia Gonzalez,
and Leah Henley.
Thank you all so much for all of your support. We cannot continue to make the show without you.
Remember, you can also find us on all the social medias. We are on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok at Lez Hang Out Pod.
Or you can email us at lezhangoutpod@gmail.com.
You can check out our website at lezhangoutpod.com.
Whatever app you use for podcasts, make sure you subscribe so you'll be the first to know when new episodes drop.
We also have videos going up on our YouTube channel. You can subscribe at youtube.com/lezhangoutpod to catch those.
Lez Hang Out is an independently produced show hosted by us with audio production by me. Our production assistant is Kristen Murison, and Twitter shenanigans by Leigh Holmes Foster.
If you want to help support the podcast, there are so many ways that you can do that. The first one is to rate and review us on whatever app you use to listen to podcasts. It helps new people find the show.
If you want to join our Patreon family, you can get access to our private Discord chat and all kinds of bonus episodes on our Patreon at bit.ly/lespatreon.
If you want to get some Lez Hang Out merch, now is a great time of year to buy all of your Lez Hang Out Christmas gear for the holidays. So you can find all of our designs and get them on all sorts of nice cozy sweatshirts and long sleeve t-shirts at bit.ly/lezshop.
And remember, we have a queer production company making queer podcast musicals with guaranteed happy endings that you can find everywhere at $beanprod.
You can check out our website, dollarbeanproductions.com.
You can listen to all episodes of our first show, The Flame, on any podcasting app.
And if you want to help support us in making more musicals, you can join our Patreon at bit.ly/dollarbeanpatreon.
If you want to follow us individually, you can follow me at Ellie Brigida on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok.
And you can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at LSH Foster.
With that, I'm Ellie.
And I'm Leigh.
And
let's hang out again soon.
Let's hang out. Welcome to the party, everybody hit the dance floor. There's a chance we're gonna lose our minds tonight. Getting out of here, it's so hot, we gotta strip down. Drop your hips down, try to stay alive. We're getting fucked up, turn the lights out. Now scream, 'cause you can't trust anybody, body. When the bodies start to pile up, will you love me? When the bodies won't stop turning up. Now the rain is hitting, got us spitting accusations, insinuations, no way to clear the air. Take a minute, can you spin it like a DJ? Instant replay, bullets flying everywhere. But in the sunrise, it was just like a dream. 'Cause you can't trust anybody, body. When the bodies start to pile up, will you love me? When the bodies don't stop turning up. Can we turn it up? Bodies. When the bodies, everybody hit the dance floor. Now scream, 'cause you can't trust anybody, When the bodies start to pile up, will you love me? When the bodies stop turning up,
Buffet brawlers, glory holes gone wrong, cannibalistic castration cabins, public poopers? These are just a few of the crazy topics you'll hear covered on Excuse Me, That's Illegal, the pettiest podcast around. Whether you need a break from all that murdery true crime stuff, or just enjoy hearing hilarious stories told in a unique way, I got what you need. I'm Leroy Luna, your fearless host/chauffeur. So come hop in my minivan and let's go for a ride. I promise you probably won't be disappointed. Excuse Me, That's Illegal is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, basically everywhere you consume podcasts, with new episodes dropping on the 10th, 20th, and 30th of the month, baby!